right, so look, something don't add up. We are living in the middle of an economic crisis that should be on every news headline. It should be trending on all these apps, but it's not. Instead, you scroll through social media and what do you see? Celebrity gossip, relationship drama, challenges, filters, and dances. A whole bunch of get-rich side hustles that just don't work. And everybody is pretending to be okay. Meanwhile, millions of Americans are on the brink of extinction and nobody's talking about it. Let's talk some facts here. Over 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck and don't have no savings whatsoever. Food prices are still rising and many families are actually having to skip meals just to make ends meet. The tariffs and the inflation situation is crushing small businesses. Many entrepreneurs or working class families are having a hard time getting off the ground because it's just too expensive to get the supplies you need to run a profitable business. Homelessness is exploding in every city. We literally have entire tent cities just growing under bridges while there's constantly new high-end luxury condos being built that nobody's in because nobody can afford to live in them. How much sense does that make? You got all these homeless people living under bridges, but then all these empty condos that nobody can afford to live in. You know what I'm saying? The wages have stagnated, but rent, healthcare, and education keep skyrocketing. We ain't making no money at the job, but everything's getting more expensive in the real world. And corporate layoffs, that's happening. It's quiet and it's ruthless. And you have millions of people that are in a situation where they went to school to get an education, to be in a certain field, and they were doing good at the job that they went to school for. And then one day they get the pink slip. They get told, you're laid off just because. That type of thing is happening a lot right now. The reality is a lot of people are drowning. Families are unraveling. And there are a lot of situations right now where many children are actually going to bed hungry in the so-called richest country in the world. But why isn't that trending? Why isn't this what we're seeing every day on our feed? And the answer is painful, but it is very clear because the system does not want you to notice. The architects of this matrix want to keep you distracted, entertained, and addicted, scrolling yourself into numbness while the world is collapsing all around you. Social media has become the digital bread and circus, a new form of pacification. Back in ancient Rome, they used gladiators and theater to distract people from the reality of the corruption and the collapse that was happening all around them. Well, instead of gladiators and theater, we now have TikTok and Twitter. We have Instagram and YouTube beefs. We have influencer drama. We have endless content that was designed to occupy our minds and occupy our attention while this system robs us blind. We are literally living in a time where reality is collapsing. What we are used to in society is changing, but the algorithm won't let you see it. Because what happens if the masses wake up? What happens when people stop laughing at memes and start to question who is behind their poverty? Who is responsible for their poverty? What happens when people realize the American dream was always a marketing scheme that was designed to keep you docile while billionaires harvest your labor? This is bigger than economics. This is psychological warfare, even a spiritual warfare. You are being programmed daily to stay in survival mode, to normalize struggle and laugh at your own pain and suffering, to compete instead of unite, to consume instead of create, to argue instead of organize. But this ain't just happening to you, it's happening to all of us, which means that we have the power to break the spell. You have to unplug from the matrix. We have to unplug from the matrix. Maybe not all at once, but it must be done and it must be intentional. We really have to start asking questions like, who profits from our poverty? Why do they want to keep us entertained and not educated? Why is real news buried while nonsense trends? And most importantly, who would you be if you weren't suffering all the time? Because once you start asking the right questions, the distractions start to lose its grip and a reality starts to come into focus. Because the truth is, America is collapsing, not just politically, but morally and economically. And if we don't really start to pay attention, it will collapse with us inside of it. So I'm not here to scare you, but I am here to remind you that you are not crazy and that you are not alone. The pressure you're feeling is real. The pain that you're feeling is real, but so is your power. So don't let the algorithm raise your children. Don't let the scroll keep you sedated. Wake up, look around, and prepare. Because while the empire burns, entertainment is the drug, and awareness is the antidote.